At the office, my laptop was confiscated after I reported a racial slur on my desk, and HR claimed I was accessing unapproved files. I was suspended without pay and labeled a threat. I lost my job, my savings, and my peace, until MY Lawyer sent one link that made them panic. I'm sitting in a windowless HR office in the middle of Omaha, Nebraska, staring down at a cup of lukewarm coffee I never asked for. Across from me is the Director of Human Resources, Shelley Watts, gray blazer, forced smile. The kind of woman who says, "I totally understand," right before she throws you under the bus. To her left is Troy, my department manager. The same guy who keeps a fishing calendar on his desk and never remembers I don't drink. "We just need to review a few things, Marcus," she says, folding her hands like a pastor delivering bad news. I nod. My heart's pounding, but I don't let it show. It all started 3 days ago. I came in early, like I always do. I work IT support at a mid-sized logistics company, been there 5 years. First one in the building, lights barely on. I dropped my bag on my desk and froze, scrawled in black permanent marker across my keyboard tray, "Stay in your lane, boy." It wasn't subtle. It wasn't a prank. It was hate. My chest tightened, but I took photos immediately. Multiple angles. Time-stamped. I didn't clean it off. I wanted proof. I went straight to Shelley in HR. I figured she'd be outraged, or at least pretend to be. Instead, she stared at the photos with a stiff expression and said, "Do you think this could have been a misunderstanding?" "A misunderstanding?" I asked. "It's written in Sharpie on my desk." "It's a threat." She sighed like I was giving her a hard time. "We'll open an internal review, but Marcus, you understand these things can be sensitive. We'll have to handle it discreetly." "Sure," I said, but I already felt the shift. Like I'd become a problem instead of a victim. 2 days later, they pulled me into this room. Shelley smiled again. "We've received some concerns about your network activity. Your company-issued laptop has been temporarily confiscated for an internal compliance review." "What?" I asked. "What kind of concerns?" Troy leaned forward. "Accessing non-approved files. Possibly sensitive information." "That's ridiculous," I said. "I haven't accessed anything that wasn't part of my job." "We'll see," Shelley replied, her tone icy. Then came the kicker. "Effective immediately," she said. "You're suspended without pay pending the outcome of the investigation." It hit like a slap. "Are you serious?" Troy wouldn't look me in the eye. Shelley just nodded. "We'll be in touch." They thought I was going to panic. They thought I'd beg, apologize, or sit quietly while they spun this whole thing into a compliance issue. What they didn't know was I'd already backed up everything. For months, I'd been documenting every incident, every off-color joke, every ignored email to HR, every time my name was left off a project I led. I even had audio clips, legally recorded, of meetings where Troy used words like urban and aggressive to describe me, and only me. It all lived in a secure, encrypted cloud folder titled Hostile Workplace Archives. And once they tried to flip the script on me, I made the call. My lawyer, Dana Morales, is as sharp as they come. No nonsense, Houston-born, with a voice like a sledgehammer. I sent her the cloud folder link. She read through the files overnight and emailed their legal department the next morning with a formal notice. Attached to the email was a clear warning. "My client has documented a sustained pattern of racial harassment and retaliatory behavior by your company. We are prepared to file suit." By 9 a.m., my work phone was blowing up. That's when the game really began. If you were me, would you ever go back to that office? Or burn the whole thing down legally? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for part 2. This is just getting started. The first call came from an unknown number at 9:12 am. I let it go to voicemail. At 9:14, it rang again, this time from the company line. Then my personal email lit up. Subject: Urgent, please contact HR. I took a slow sip of coffee and smiled for the first time in days. Let him sweat. I didn't respond. Dana had already advised me, don't talk to them unless I'm present. If they want to talk, they go through me. At 10:23 a.m., she forwarded me a message from the company's internal legal counsel. It read, "We would appreciate the opportunity to discuss this matter directly and resolve it without unnecessary escalation. The company is committed to maintaining an inclusive and respectful workplace." Yeah, right. That's why they suspended me without pay after I reported a hate crime. Dana responded with a single sentence. We'll see you Thursday at 2 p.m. in my office. Bring your people. That Thursday, they showed up with 3 people. The in-house legal rep, a regional HR manager I'd never met, and of course, Shelley. They looked uncomfortable sitting across from us in Dana's conference room in downtown Omaha. Leather chairs, granite table, cold water bottles lined up neatly. Dana wasted no time. My client documented over 50 instances of racially motivated harassment, along with your failure to address a reported threat written directly on his workstation. Then, within 48 hours of him reporting it, you suspended him without pay for a fabricated compliance violation. She tapped her tablet. We have call logs, screenshots, emails, audio, and surveillance timestamps that do not align with your stated reason for his suspension. So before we move forward, let me ask, do you still stand by the suspension? The legal rep shifted. Shelley cleared her throat. Well, Shelley said, there may have been some miscommunication. Dana cut in, no, there wasn't. You didn't expect Marcus to have documentation. But he did. Now the question is whether we settle this privately or let a jury hear all of it. Silence. Then the HR manager leaned forward. What are you asking for? Dana smiled. You're going to reinstate him immediately, with back pay. You're also going to pay a generous settlement for emotional distress and retaliation. And he will not return to the same department or manager. That man, she pointed directly at Shelley, should be reassigned or terminated. Shelley's face turned a shade paler. That meeting ended without a deal. But it sent a shockwave through the company. I started getting texts from coworkers I hadn't heard from in months. One said, I heard what they did to you. It's messed up. Let me know if you need anything. Another said, due to HR is panicking. People are saying Shelley might be out. One brave coworker sent me a screenshot from an internal Slack thread. A quiet discussion of other inappropriate behavior from people who'd been silent until now. That's when I realized I wasn't just fighting for me anymore. The next day, Dana got a revised offer, full reinstatement, all back pay, a transition bonus. And this was new, a confidentiality clause. They wanted me to sign something that would keep all of this under wraps. Dana slid the offer across the table to me. I looked it over. The number was tempting. The silence clause wasn't. They're scared, I said. Dana nodded. They should be. You still want to go scorched earth? I thought for a second. No, I said. Not yet. Instead, we countered with a new demand, an internal audit by a third-party firm paid for by the company and shared with all employees. Dana delivered it like a grenade in a velvet box. They didn't respond for 3 days. On the 4th, they came back with a different approach. They offered me a completely new role. Higher pay, remote, different department. And this time, they didn't include a silence clause. But there was a catch. The offer came with one condition. You must formally retract your original complaint and agree it was due to a misunderstanding. They really thought I'd go for that. I stared at the sentence for a long time. Then I forwarded the email to Dana with one line. Let's go to war. It's funny how fast people start acting polite once lawyers get involved. 2 weeks ago, I was suspended without pay. Now, I'm a walking liability they can't afford to ignore. After they asked me to retract my original complaint, Dana filed a formal complaint with the Nebraska Equal Opportunity Commission, then looped in the EEOC at the federal level. Within 48 hours, the company's tone changed completely. Emails came through with phrases like, "We value your experience. We're committed to resolving this amicably. Your concerns are being taken seriously." Too late. They'd already shown me who they were. At Dana's suggestion, I gave a full statement to the EEOC. I sent over every document in the hostile workplace archives folder. Not just about the slur, I gave them everything. The team chat where one guy posted a meme calling me Diversity Hire of the Month. The meeting where I was asked to explain urban trends to a room full of executives. The emails where I was passed over for promotion, twice, for coworkers with less experience. The EEOC rep was stunned. This is one of the most thorough documentation trails I've ever seen, she said. I told her they thought I'd just walk away. Back at the company, the panic was setting in. The internal audit we demanded, they agreed to it, but only if it stayed internal. Dana laughed out loud when she read that part. They want to investigate themselves, she said, like asking a fox to write a report on the henhouse. We refused, so they went dark again for a few days. Then something unexpected happened. I got a call from someone I hadn't talked to in over a year. Maya Turner, former HR generalist. Smart, straight-talking, and one of the only people in that building who ever treated me like a human being. "Can I talk to you off the record?" she asked. "Always," I said. We met at a diner on the edge of town, one of those places where the coffee tastes like it's been brewing since the Reagan administration. She looked nervous. "They've been deleting internal messages," she whispered. "Trying to clean up digital trails, stuff from Slack, internal email, even old meeting recordings." My stomach dropped. "They're covering tracks," I asked. She nodded. "They're scared. And they should be." Then she slid a flash drive across the table. "I made backups before I left." Backups. Of everything: Troy's private messages, Shelley's internal notes. Even a Zoom call transcription where a senior manager says, "We should just ride this out and say it's a personality conflict. The race angle is too messy." They thought they were untouchable. But Maya, she was my wild card. And the flash drive, that was my nuke. We sent it all to the EEOC. Dana also forwarded a copy to an employment rights journalist she knew from law school, just in case they tried to bury it. The storm was coming. But I wasn't scared anymore. In fact, I wanted them to swing first. Because for the first time in this whole ordeal, I was ready to hit back. The story broke 3 days later. Not the full story, just a taste. A headline on a local Omaha business blog read, "Logistics firm under EEOC investigation for alleged racial harassment, retaliation." It didn't name me directly, but anyone inside the company knew exactly who the article was about. By noon, it was trending on LinkedIn. By 4 p.m., a regional news station picked it up. And by the next morning, a statement was posted to the company's official website. "We take these allegations seriously and are conducting a full internal review. Our company is committed to diversity and inclusion," blah, blah, blah. I'd heard it all before. But this time, they weren't controlling the story. I was. I didn't even know about the biggest twist until Maya texted me. "You're not gonna believe this. Internal Slack is going nuclear." I logged into my old work email. They hadn't shut off access yet, and found nearly a dozen unread messages from coworkers. One of them sent me a PDF, an anonymous employee petition, signed by over 40 people, demanding Shelley's immediate resignation, a public apology from upper management, and a third-party racial sensitivity and anti-retaliation training. It was titled, "We Stand with Marcus." I stared at it for a full minute. Then I forwarded it to Dana. She didn't say much, just replied, "They just lost control of the narrative." At this point, it was beyond just me. Employees were coming forward. Some filed complaints of their own. One person even admitted to seeing the slur on my desk before I found it, but was afraid to say anything at the time. Now they were speaking up. And then, the company did something so desperate, it was almost funny. They sent out a company-wide email offering a listening session for affected employees, anonymous submission forms, and a $100 bonus for anyone who completed sensitivity training early. I couldn't believe it. Throwing cash at a crisis like it was a Black Friday promo. Then came the layoffs. Not officially connected, of course, but within a week, 2 low-level HR assistants were gone. A junior IT analyst who once called me a quota filler on a hot mic, suddenly pursuing new opportunities. And Troy, placed on administrative leave pending investigation. Shelley, though, she was still there, clinging to her job like a raccoon in a trash fire. But not for long. Remember that flash drive? Maya's gift. Dana sent a copy to an attorney at the Nebraska Civil Rights Commission and a labor reporter for the Omaha Herald. The next article pulled no punches. Headline: Exclusive, Racial Harassment at Local Logistics Company. Evidence suggests cover-up by HR leadership. They included snippets of the internal messages. Just say it's a misunderstanding. He's probably overreacting. We don't negotiate with liabilities. That last one, that was Shelley, and it was dated 2 days after I reported the slur. After that article dropped, everything changed. I wasn't just a former IT guy anymore. I was the guy who exposed a toxic system and had the receipts to back it up. The company tried to reach out again. Not through Dana this time, but through a senior VP. They wanted to meet in person. Off the record, Dana laughed. They're circling the drain. I agreed to the meeting, but only if it happened at her office with a court reporter present and audio recording allowed. They backed out, because now every move they made looked guilty, and I wasn't interested in playing defense anymore. I wanted the next hit to land hard, real hard. We gave them one last chance. Dana drafted a final settlement letter. It was polite, professional, and devastating. It outlined every legal angle we could hit them on. Retaliation under Title VII, hostile work environment, wrongful suspension, failure to protect an employee after a documented threat, and it came with terms. 7-figure settlement, public admission of wrongdoing, full legal fees, covered mandatory policy reform and training conducted by an outside firm. Shelley's immediate resignation. They had 7 business days to respond. On day 4, their lawyer requested a private call with Dana. Dana said fine on the record. I listened in on speaker. He sounded tired, defeated. We're prepared to settle, he said. Full terms minus the public admission. Dana replied, no deal. Your client tried to bury my client. He dug out. Now you want to skip the consequences. A pause. We'll give you the full amount, he said slowly. And we'll pay legal fees, but the statement will be carefully worded. Dana looked at me. I nodded. Carefully worded is fine, she said, as long as it doesn't lie. 3 days later, I received the check. It was just over $1.4 million, enough to pay off my house, my parents' house, and still invest 6 figures. They issued a company-wide email with the subject, important update, organizational changes and commitment to workplace equity. It was corporate nonsense, but buried in the second paragraph, there it was. We acknowledge that past events within our organization did not reflect the standards we aim to uphold. We are implementing new oversight protocols to ensure all employees are treated with respect and dignity. And Shelley voluntarily stepped down, but that wasn't the best part. The best part was the mandatory all-staff training that followed. A full-day seminar titled, Recognizing Bias and Preventing Retaliation in the Workplace, led by a firm I personally recommended. The kicker, I was the keynote speaker. I stood on the same stage they'd used for corporate holiday parties, in front of 200 employees, some who had ignored me, some who had doubted me, and I told them everything. In clear, simple words, no dramatics. No shouting, just truth. About what it's like to show up, do your job, and still feel like a target. About how silence helps rot grow. And how receipts save lives. When I finished, the room was quiet. Then, slowly, applause. It's been 7 months since that speech. I've started a consulting firm now, helping others navigate the same kind of workplace mine used to be. And Maya, she's my operations director. We talk every day. And the flash drive she gave me still sits in my desk drawer, labeled in red Sharpie, never forget. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever dealt with a toxic job or stood up to power when it wasn't easy, drop your city in the comments. You're not alone. And if you ever find yourself in a war like I did, just remember, document everything. Like, subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss another revenge story. Because trust me, they never see it coming. But they always remember who hit back.